Hello, Kindred Longevity Lifestyle Designers. This is Gavin here with secretsoflongevity.com. There's two recent news stories I wanted to kind of play against each other and reflect on in this video. One you'd definitely be aware of. One is one that I just saw today, which was very revealing for Canadian viewers and can serve as an example to other countries in understanding what's going on with their healthcare system. So the first thing is this whole lobby-hobby or Bobby debate, whoever that is or whatever that is. I always find these things funny, like when the whole Chick-fil-A thing happened a few, was it years ago now? I'd never heard of this US chain, and I still don't even understand what Hobby Lobby is. I'm not going to go in depth into it because I don't understand those minute details, but you know, there's enough there that it's pretty obvious that this is such a silly distraction, and it's the media's ability to keep pushing this to divide people. Yes, the legitimate discussions about it on social media make sense, but really this is just one chain making a decision about what they support for their workers, what the employers pay for in their healthcare insurance, and what they can block from it. So a lot of people on the left want to say, stay out of our bedrooms, stay out of our lives. We want to have social freedom to do what we please and to live how we want to live. Well, if you have one freedom, it should go naturally that you'd have the freedom in private business as well. Voluntary contracts, such as your employer and the employee, need to be negotiated between those two people. Some people might not want health insurance. Perhaps they want to put their money towards other things because they put a lot of effort into staying healthy, and maybe they just want a basic type of insurance that just covers emergency medical procedures if they were in some sort of uncontrollable accident. So that's not exactly possible in the US, but that's where I come from and was a big motivator for me in looking into the whole healthcare models that exist in different countries around the world, and also this whole issue with socialized healthcare and how it cuts off a lot of motivating factors for living a healthier lifestyle. And basically the people who lose out are the people who do put more effort onto staying healthy. So yeah, there's a lot of bad points being made about this whole issue. They're not completely cutting off funding to all types of birth control. They're just doing the ones that deal with post-conception, and I'm not going to even touch that topic of abortion issues, but if someone wants to have that as a standard in what they feel comfortable doing and what they feel comfortable providing their employees, then all the power to them. People want to try and say that they're still allowing, you know, male enhancement medications and things like that, like Viagra. Well, you know, erectile dysfunction is a real health issue. It's not a result of bad choices and neglect around taking the proper precautions before allowing conception to occur. They still allow, under that model, coverage for a whole wide range of female contraceptives that work before post-conception. So it's that idea of eliminating life as it started that they feel strongly about. Now, my stance on this is purely one of freedom. Again, people have the right for voluntary association without government getting its grubby little hands in people's pockets and slapping their wrists if they try and do something that the government and other people who have no part in that dealing, you know, other people who vote for government, essentially, they have no right interfering with people's private business. If I want to work for $2 an hour, I should be able to work for $2 an hour if I can't find work elsewhere for that amount. Interestingly, in North Dakota, where there is no minimum wage, Walmart has record high hourly wages because the economy is doing so well there. To compete in the market, that employer has to employ people at $15, $16, $17 an hour. It kind of makes Seattle look a little silly. Anyways, looking over to Canada, this other news story comes out of the Fraser Institute, and you can find a link below for this story and this report. They found that by breaking down the numbers, doing some crunching, they've looked at the different units of family and individuals and seeing what is the average amount people are paying through taxes on their healthcare, because it's something that is pretty hidden. We think of socialized healthcare as being free healthcare. It's not in the slightest. And you have to be pretty inept not to recognize this. You know, because for services to be provided for you, someone's being paid. Where's that coming from? It's not just the government printing money, which you would then be paying for with inflation costs. It's a combination of that along with the taxes on goods, but the taxes on your income, the taxes of your home. I understand certain things are divided and meant for certain areas, so it might be a greater percentage of your income tax that might go towards healthcare. I believe property taxes are largely municipal. So, yeah, we have taxes on all these things nowadays, and if you could take all that tax back, just for the sake of argument, and understand and break down what percentages of all this money is going to different things, and actually just how much this is to begin with, you would probably start feeling a little bit angry at how efficient government actually is. We tend to think like, oh, if a lot of people pool their money into something, you know, government insurance or private corporate insurance like is being set up in the US with Obamacare, you know, an oligarchy of one single corporate health insurance is really fucked up. But in Canada, it's actually controlled by the government, not by a separate corporation. But there's really, where's the exact line where that changes, because you have government agencies which want to expand and use more resources themselves. But per individual, if we're looking at, you know, individual people, the number is about $4,381, you know, taxed out of the average income to be used for healthcare. And you have to think to yourself, how is my yearly or bi-yearly doctor's office visit where I'm waiting for an hour to get an antibiotic for my viral infection, perhaps? You might understand that joke there. How is that costing me $4,000? Well, of course, there's the risk of more serious injury where you might need an ambulance or medical care that requires heavy-duty machinery, and of course there's an even slimmer chance that you have more chronic illness, which needs a lot of care and in-hospital time, and that's what that's supposed to cover, of course. But as we know, simply by looking at health insurance abroad around the world, health insurance isn't that expensive. If you go traveling, someone my age who goes traveling, you're paying less than $1 a day. You're paying like 50 to 60, maybe 70 cents. It really depends on where you're going, what you're doing, what your current health status is to some degree, who it is you're getting the insurance with, and, you know, you add that up, that's like $180 a year. So that leaves you with $4,200 for someone like me, if I was making the average income that is described as the average individual. It's probably someone a little older, so for me, maybe it's like $3,000 if we take off that $180. Say $3,000 of my dollars that would go to tax, and then go to some fund in the government to cover my healthcare expenses. I could do so much with that for my own health, preventative-wise, but also set up and invest myself for a rainy day when I might need something for something I've neglected myself, or I have a case of some sort of serious illness. I don't think I'm going to end up in that place, but that argument can be made for someone who's not as passionate about healthcare of themselves and maintaining their own health. If you have the wherewithal to, you know, set up and invest intelligently, you should have the right to do so. It's your money, it's your labor that created it, yet we live in a system that appeals to the lowest common denominator, which is the most unintelligent people who have absolutely no ability to invest their money wisely or save money for a rainy day. And so that's what in the past would have ended up in statistics of people not getting good health care. And so there's this idea of, oh, let's give health care to everyone because, you know, 20% of the population is completely stupid with their investments. It's the same thing that's gone into creating pension plans when people can't invest money for retirement, and those are now being looked at being increased in Canada. It's very concerning when you consider in the U.S. and also there's evidence of this possibility in Canada, the government using that money for other purposes. And also it's pretty shitty returns when you think of it and when you break it down. So there's been a lot of people that have done this. It really just blows my mind that people still fall for this and they think, oh, these government services are so wonderful and provide us with so much, when in fact you're losing 75% of the potential of what those resources or money could have achieved. I'd say maybe even more. If you look at that 180 cost versus the 4,200, with an extra 4,200 a year, you could buy the best health insurance and have still plenty left over, to take a retreat to somewhere wonderful where you can rejuvenate and cleanse perhaps, or you could put it into buying organic food exclusively in your lifestyle. You could put it towards a gym membership and a personal trainer and weekly massages. There's no end to the different possibilities of what you could do for your health with this money the government's just pilfering away and losing, essentially, because inefficiency, bureaucracy is going to people that are working in these bizarre government agencies that are outdated and do not have the pressures of competition from the free market in order to hone the services they offer. Look at the cost per family. It's even higher from this example. And what I found odd was a single couple with no kids was ending up contributing more than a family with one kid. So I'm just trying to draw a parallel here between this idea of these minute disagreements with socialized healthcare that's happening in the U.S. And, some people don't like the term socialized healthcare. For what's happening in the U.S. with the corporate monopoly on healthcare would be a more appropriate term, but it's socialized in that everyone has to go into it, and it's mandatory for everyone, and it's heavily regulated by the government. And this is only going to lead to problems. So you have to go into this and understand the state that the U.S. and even to a large degree Canada's in, many other Western countries are in, having this progression towards limiting your freedoms of what you can do and how you can live your life, capital controls and all these things. And it's a topic that's going to be discussed and is being discussed on this channel to some degree, but it's also going to be a big topic on a new project I'm working on. And this is sort of a soft launch. If you follow me on any social media, you might have seen the odd posting that I've already done. But it's another YouTube channel. It's in conjunction with Jeff Berwick and Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, and you can check out the links below for a link to that channel. It's the Health Vigilante. It's using Jeff Berwick's brand of the Dollar Vigilante, and we're going to be bringing some really exciting information very soon. We're just putting the finishing touches on the site, and we'll have a video up soon, the introductory video on the YouTube channel, but head over there and subscribe. I think you guys will like it. I'll be the main face on the YouTube channel, and then of course we'll have blogs and postings on the site as well, which I'll be linking to at times, and we'll be having a lot of contributors, and it's going to be a really cool hub for a very unique take on the health world. We think of integrative health and holistic health as being this very set paradigm, and we're looking to even expand beyond that and talk about things from medical tourism to holistic retreats around the world, and giving you information about where you can go to attain your health goals, whether they're very acute, which would need very much a sort of crisis care type model, but then there's also the maintenance and the building of health that a lot of people want to do, and that's what we're going to have resources for. We're also going to be talking about news and topics just like I'm talking about in this video. We'll be covering more conventional stuff on supplements and different health topics that are more common, and you might see the odd interview, especially on the channel. I'll be doing interviews on there, so I'm really excited about it. I want you guys to head on over there and check it out, at least subscribe so that you see content as it gets posted. You can also check out the Facebook page and the Twitter account if you use either of those platforms as well. So let me know what you think about this video and these topics, and I really see a lot of pushback when I talk about these things from people because there's very little understanding of what socialism means and what it does to services in terms of reducing the quality while increasing the cost. And you can say, well, everyone's getting access to it then, but everyone gets access to these things as society reaches the point of economic stability and charity picks up the very bottom who cannot afford or have developmental problems and can't create the resources in their lives to be able to afford these things, but they do get helped out in a free society because people don't like to see that. We have a naturally inbuilt compassion center if we've had a very trauma-free life or we've dealt with those traumas had we had them. So yeah, that's why I really want to emphasize how important this is, because to be able to get the absolute best health we can get in our lives, we need to have that freedom and resources to be able to attain those. And that's not selfish, that's looking out for ourselves first, so then we are then able to help others. And like that figure I talked about, if you had an extra 4.2 grand in the bank, that's a lot of money you could give to charity. If you just purely use that to, give that 50 cents or 60 or 70 or $1 or even more if it's an older person, because insurance goes up as you get older, you could cover a lot of people's insurance for that much, for this healthcare I'm talking about that would be covered by a basic level insurance, which in my opinion is far superior to what we have in Canada, what's coming about in the US. So yeah, that just about sums it up, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care and embrace life without limits.